We are back with another episode of Unleashed Alchemy. Thank you so much for being here. If you are new here on this platform, we talk about all things spiritual. All right. And after each episode, my intention is that you are going to feel more empowered. You're going to feel more confident in using your intuition. You're going to feel more confident in cultivating and using your spiritual gifts so that you can call forth the unseen into the scene. All right. And so this episode will be no different. On this episode, we are going to talk about anticipation, agitation versus being. All right. When we are talking about manifestation. All right. So let's get into this episode. Look, when we manifest, there tends to be a phase or phases that we may move through. All right. Now, that is not to say, nor does that negate the possibilities of quantum movement. All right. Because once again, on this show, we are spiritual beings first, then human. All right. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. So quantum movement in any aspect of our life is always a possibility. All right. So I just got ahead of myself already. We are quantum beings. All right. Able to manifest in quantum fashion when we release our limited view on time. Our views on time is based on a clock. It's based on a calendar. Okay. The clock, calendar, perhaps established for order in society so that everybody can be on the same page. All right. We'll just leave it there. So that the world can have some order or give the illusion of some order if we're all using the same idea of time based on a clock and a calendar. All right. So when we manifest, we are affirming. When we affirm, okay, we are agreeing with what is, not what was, not what is going to be, not what could be, not what we have faith in. But when we manifest, we are affirming, we're agreeing with what is in the now, okay, based on the now, based in our desires, on our deepest desires that come from our soul, that come from the base of our soul, that come from our core, based on our essence. All right, which again is coming from our soul, our true self, our highest self, from the highest potential. All right. So now here's the paradox. So we affirm, and then what happens is we have this tendency, or I should say the egoic tendency, to just automatically start looking for proof. We start looking for evidence of what we affirm. Now, whether that search for evidence is coming from outsiders, people in our lives that are looking for evidence off of what we say, or if we're looking for evidence within ourselves through our physical senses, regardless of whether the question of proof is coming from ourselves or coming from someone else. It's always through physical senses, because for all of us, our ego tells us if we don't see what we affirm, then we have to continue to look for proof. That continual search for proof gives a perfect gateway for agitation to set in. So let's look at what agitation means. To agitate means to move or to force into violent, irregular action. So what we want to focus on is that force, to force into irregular action. And I'm going to say when we force into action, the action becomes irregular because that force is based off of our agitation, which is not stable and it is not sustainable for us to continue to take action in that energy. First thing we have to remember is that manifestation doesn't involve, nor does it require, any type of forced, agitated movement or action. Forced action leads to instability. So you can manifest what you want based on forced desire. It's possible, it could happen. But that force, you cannot sustain that. So now if you're forcing something to happen, you get, whatever that goal, whatever you're trying to achieve, it happens. But now you have the mindset that every time you have a desire, that it's going to take that same forced action every single time. We are not built to move in action, to move in life in that manner. Where does that come from? That comes from the programmed idea of this hustle, grind, hard work. All right. Yes, there is action, but it's inspired action that can be in flow. And still to this day, there are so many of us that cannot get out of that. I need to force, I need to make something happen. To have something happen in flow and in inspiration is still such a foreign concept to many of us. Even for those of us that say we are manifesting. Okay? So, I'm going to repeat this. Agitation is an agitated state of being. Again, it is not sustainable for your energetic vessel. It is not sustainable for your nervous system. Because as I said, you can achieve or get whatever it is that you want with that forced agitated action. But it is not sustainable. That is constant resistance. It is constant stress on your body and on your nervous system. We're not built for that. Okay? So, what do when you find yourself in this agitated state? So, number one, don't try to pretend that it isn't there. Don't try to pretend that you don't feel the agitation. You observe it. All right? You observe by asking the first question, okay, where do I feel this agitation in my body? Why do I feel this agitation? Is it because I don't believe in what I've affirmed? Is it because I've compared what I want with someone else's life? Is it because I feel like what I've affirmed is too big for me? Am I afraid I won't be able to handle what I have affirmed coming into my physical life? Whether you journal those questions, whether you journal those answers, or you ask the questions, just out loud, and you sit and wait for the answer, it doesn't matter how you go about doing it. What does matter is to observe the agitation and to allow yourself to get quiet enough for the answers to come through. All right? And the reason why it's important to do that, because many times we confuse anticipation with agitation. Ultimately, to manifest is to be that version of you that has the additional income, to be that version of you that is a best-selling author, to be that version of you that has a chain of spas, to be that version of you that is a world traveler, that is a writer about their travelers, whatever this vision of you that you have, the ultimate goal of manifestation is to be that now. Being goes even beyond anticipation. However, resistance can increase if you attempt to move from your agitated state to all of a sudden being. So, for example, I'll use the example of if there's someone out there that's watching and you know that you are a spiritual being and you have this vision of you as an author, a best-selling author. If you're agitated because perhaps you've been sending a transcript or excuse me, a manuscript to publishers and you keep getting no, 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 you've got a million no's and there's agitation there. Let the agitation be there. Don't try and jump from, nope, I'm not going to be agitated. I'm not going to be angry. I'm not going to feel annoyed. I'm not going to feel angry. I'm not going to feel looked over. I am the author. I'm going to be the author. Don't even do that, because that in itself is resistance, because now you're forcing yourself to be in that state. So recognize the agitation. Ask yourself, okay, where am I feeling the agitation? Is it in my hands? Is it in between my eyes? Is it in my chest? Why do I feel this agitation? And then you say, well, because I feel tired of getting these no's. Then it may be, well, because I feel exhausted from sending out all these manuscripts and it feels like nothing is happening. Allow yourself to ask those questions. Let the answers come up. All right. So let's go back to not confusing agitation with anticipation. Before we do that, I want to say this. If you are in an agitated state, rather than trying to jump from agitation to being, even if you say, yes, I feel the agitation now, but I still anticipate being a best-selling author. You have no idea the magic that you have turned on within yourself just to hear yourself say those words. All right? So let's do the comparison with agitation versus anticipation. So how do you know which one is which? Agitation, when you're agitated, you're looking for proof of your manifestation. When you're in anticipation, your proof is in what you say. Your proof is in your affirming. Okay? With your agreeing with what is. Second thing, if you're agitated, you are completely attached to that outcome, which does not allow for any flexibility on how you becoming a best-selling author, what that can look like. With anticipation, yes, you have that desire, but you are detached because you are an author now. You write every day. Maybe not every day you write, but you write a lot. You're already an author. Okay? When you are in an agitated state, you're trying to control the how, you're trying to control the process. You think if you don't put in the force that it's not going to happen. It can't happen without your hands in it. But when you are in anticipation, you understand and you know that there is a possibility that the how, all that heavy lifting, is done because you have surrendered to your unseen help. You have surrendered to your elevated guides. You have surrendered to source, to spirit. all right, that sees all, knows all. You've surrendered to your soul, okay? This last one, well, they're all important, but this last one is really important because it deals with time. When you are in an agitated state, you're bound by time. You're constantly looking at the clock. You're constantly looking at a calendar. I'll give you a perfect example. This YouTube channel, I started in November of 2022. And at the time that I started, I wasn't strictly talking about spirituality. In a way I was, but I was not putting those terms and those words. I wasn't using that word. I was talking about, other things. Trying to figure out how this channel, I knew that I had a message. I knew that I was called to speak on certain things. Wasn't exactly sure how it was going to go. I just moved. Well, because today I have 65 subscribers, if I'm looking at the clock, I could say, well, based on the calendar, I should have more subscribers. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If I'm in agitated state, I could look and start comparing my channel to other people's who have been on YouTube the same amount of time and may have more subscribers. But anticipation says, no, I'm focused on my soul. I'm focused on my calling. I know that my soul is timeless, so it doesn't matter. All right? Now, because we are soul, we are spirit first, we are not bound by time. When you can move your focus from time bound to being timeless, that is how you know that you have moved into a state of being. So instead of looking for proof, you know that you are the proof. Period. All right? Let me know what your takeaways are from this video. And until next time, thank you for watching. Cheers.